Alright, if you didn't catch the first video where I introduced this vehicle, go ahead and check it out. But today, I'm going to tell you the 5 things that I hate about my Subaru WRX. So as a refresher, this is a 2022 Subaru WRX that I picked up about a week ago, and I've had a little bit of time. I drove it back from California. On the way back, I got about 15 hours under my belt, and then having it back here at home, I've been able to take it on carpool errands, getting new tires on it because it came with summer tires and it is winter here. And so this is my first week impression of the things that I hate about this car. First and foremost, I do not like stereotypes. Yes, I have had so many people who have already wanted to race me in this thing. Mostly GTIs, other WRXs, and even some Civic SIs and things of that nature. I have a lot fewer people who want to race me in my R8. They must see that it is the 22 model year and think that it's going to be an easy kill. So they try to go for it. But honestly, it gets really frustrating because I'm not here to race people. I don't care about the bragging rights. It reminds me of the way Chevy Silverados act around my F-150 Raptor. V8 is superior. I'm going to floor it right next to you and slowly pull away from you. Seriously, all the time, Silverado owners have to accelerate quickly away from me to show off their V8 in the Raptor. Okay, I just got the text that my dogs are ready to be picked up at the groomers, and this place charges a pretty penny if you don't pick them up right away. So we're going to continue this with my dogs. All right, so where were we? Stereotypes. Welcome to the dogs, yep. So some of the stereotypes that I've also gotten is when I showed a neighbor the new vehicle, he was like, oh wow, this isn't beaten up. You bought this used? It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, so some kid didn't have it, huh? Well, I guess not. And if it was, well, they took good care of it. Now, they haven't asked it directly, but I have had some people already allude to the fact of, oh, are you going to start taking up vaping too? Another Subaru stereotype. So no, I am not a young kid that wants to race you that also vapes. And for that, I truly do not apologize. Got the dogs dropped off, so now we can talk about the second thing I hate about this Subaru WRX. And it's the Powerband. So this camera does have a gimbal, so it probably looked like it was actually pretty smooth. However, the turbos lag more than I would like. They take a while to kick in and then runs out of steam really quickly. Now, I had actually never driven one of these body style WRXs before. I had already signed the paperwork and handed the keys, so I did not know what to expect. I did expect a little bit of turbo lag. However, I am kind of surprised at how much turbo lag there is. This is the new 2.4 liter rather than the old EJ20, and I was expecting a little bit more torque at the bottom end, not a significant amount, but still more. Now, this vehicle is definitely more geared for the mid-range, and consequently, its 0 to 60 time actually is significantly slower. Now, Subaru also did this because they wanted to save the clutch. The previous body style WRXs, they didn't try to preserve the clutch, so you could really drop it down and get some impressive 0 to 60 times. So although this vehicle is a little bit slower 0 to 60, in the mid-range, I don't think it's any slower than the previous WRXs, and maybe even a little bit quicker. But that red line comes up so quick, and I often find myself hitting it when I really shouldn't be. So let's drop a couple of gears here. And there's red line. We were on the power for what, a second, maybe? Now, some of this will be addressed through the aftermarket, but it does give me a good idea that if I were to upgrade the intercooler, I would be doing a top mount rather than a front mount, just so that I can keep that lag to a minimum. Next up on my list is the fuel economy. No, I did not expect a Prius out of this. And honestly, on the freeway, it's not bad. Coming back from picking this up in California, there were a few times where I managed to hit an indicated 29 miles per gallon over a couple hour stretch. So honestly, that's not bad. So why am I complaining about the fuel economy? Well, it has a very different outcome when you're driving around the city. The fuel economy is much more in line with my F-150 Raptor, which is not great. So if I'm taking it easy throughout the city, not really getting on the throttle very much, trying to stay out of boost, it still does not quite live up to expectations. And frankly, it's more fun to stay in the boost. So I guess I'm taking a fuel economy hit.
It is what it is.
Okay, so this next one probably wouldn't be an issue if I hadn't already experienced somebody doing it right. So this is a manual transmission car, and in the gauge cluster, it actually has an indicator that shows you what gear that you are in. Pretty cool, right? Not if you have driven a recent Jeep Wrangler with a manual transmission like I have. In my Jeep Wrangler, when you get into the gear, it automatically updates on the screen and says what gear you are about to engage with before you let off the clutch. This vehicle, however, you have to let off the clutch entirely before it indicates what gear it is. Otherwise, it will just be blank and show nothing, which honestly doesn't make a lot of sense. Why have that gear indicator there? I think it's absolutely beneficial if you are doing spirited driving and it's a quick indicator to say, hey, did I end up in fourth gear or second gear? And on the Jeep, it shows that. But on this car, your valves are going to tell you long before that shift indicator tells you anything. So as cool as the concept is, in execution, Subaru does not pull it off well at all. And last but certainly not least, there is a lot of glass in this vehicle. Yeah, that's right, a lot of glass, which you might think would be a benefit. You can see very easily out of it, blind spots are minimal, and it feels open and airy inside. But two things wrong with that. One of them pretty minor. And the minor one is it doesn't have that sports car feel. Granted, it's not a sports car. I understand it is a basic economy sedan that they happen to throw a bigger motor with a turbo on. But with it being so open and airy, it doesn't feel like a performance vehicle where you have that dialed in cockpit type feeling. But for the more major one, there's a lot of sun that comes in. Now, driving this vehicle back from California, I had my daughter in the back seat, and even at noon, when the sun is directly above us, she could not find a spot in the vehicle where it didn't have any sun. So she's sitting in the back seat, hopping from side to side, sitting in the middle, wherever she can find to try and escape this sun. And guess what? You can't. There's so much glass and so much curvature in that glass, which most sedans have. So she's hopping back and forth from each side to the middle in the backseat, trying to figure out where she can be to escape this sun. Everywhere she went, there was sun. Part of this is the design of sedans. You have a more narrow roof than you do on the floor. However, combine that with how large these windows are, there was really no escaping the sun no matter where she was. So that makes priority number one, tint on this vehicle. Now, of course, the pros far outweigh the cons. After having driven it through some twisty roads right there as I was filming this video, I love this car. So look forward to more videos along with modifications to truly make this my WRX, and let me know, should we lower it or lift it? But as always, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Make sure to check out some of my other videos.